Hello friends, it's Laura from CoolMomAndCollected.com, and in today's video, I am bringing you through my homeschool curriculum for the 2025 to 2026 homeschool year with Ambleside Online. It is that time of year again. I am a homeschool mom of 5 children under 8, and we do a Charlotte Mason philosophy with Ambleside Online. Today I am sharing my entire curriculum for my year 1 and year 3 students with Ambleside Online. But if you want to see my Kinderleben plans, which are any of my students under 6 years old, make sure that you watch the previous video because I lay it all down there. I have a ton of resources I'm going to be sharing with you guys today, and I'm going to link them all down below in my Amazon storefront for your convenience. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more, because I got more coming. I hope you guys enjoy. As you guys can see, we have a lot going on. In fact, we have more going on than I have in my previous curriculum videos because I have a year 1 and a year 3 student now. So there's a lot of year 1 and year 3, but I'm going to take you through in an orderly fashion, and we're going to go step by step, starting with year 1. So here we go. Now, I'll note the subjects that we have combined, and this is combined. This is Bible. I actually just realized that I'm going to need a narration journal for my daughter, my 6-year-old, because I have a narration Bible journal for my 8-year-old, but yeah, yikes, I need to get one for her. So I'm going to get her a cute separate journal, Walmart, something easy, and she'll have that. This is my son's. If you guys want to see about my narration journals and how I do it, you can look at this video right here. It's a separate journal where he can document all of his Bible narrations. Now, here is the Holy Scriptures Tree of Life version. I really like it because it honors a lot of the Hebrew words, so you can become familiar with some of the more original Hebrew words. And I read a chapter a day from either the Old Testament or the New Testament with my kids. I've been doing that for a really long time, and it's worked great, so we're going to continue to do that in the Bible. I also have the Student Bible Atlas by Tim Dowley. I've had this since year 1. Now my son's in year 3. But there's just such beautiful maps as you work your way through the Bible. This has just been a great resource to be able to kind of show the kids the places that we spoke about in that particular day's reading. A lot of times people don't know where things are because they have trouble visualizing. And if we talk about something in a chapter, we can look here and try to show them on the map what we're talking about. And it does make it familiar over time. So I really like that. I've mentioned in past videos, a lot of people do the recommended AO readings for a Bible, but right now I have decided I still want to really build on the foundation of the Bible itself with my children and just continue to use my wisdom as a mother to go through the Bible with them daily and build off of that. So that's what we're continuing to do. It's been working great for us. If you maybe saw in one of my previous videos, when I print out my child's schedule, I have a what I have and what I need note card just to kind of keep me organized. For year 1 history, I actually have a lot of books here that I am using from the library. So for instance, instead of 50 famous stories, we're going to be doing 30 more famous stories. And I'm actually getting that on Kindle. So I want to show you guys some of the books I am using is not present because I purchase books on Kindle, not chapter books that my kids are reading because I want them to have the physical book in hand, but I do purchase, because I find them at really good prices, any of the other books that are required. This is last year's books, but the good news is I actually have Island Story, which is one of the books that I will be continuing with not just my year 1 student, but my year 3 student. So history is something we're continuing with both of them, and I really, really recommend Island Story. I found that it just had really doable length chapters and it just wasn't a burden. That's the only way I can put it. My son, he does love history and so does my daughter, but it just wasn't a burden going through. And I have had books before where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like ripping teeth out. I really appreciate Island Story and we're very excited to continue with that. So we're going to pick up where we left off from last year and continue Island Story for history. Another thing that we're going to be doing that's not mentioned here is Ingrid Diolaire. That's an author that's widely used with Charlotte Mason philosophy. We're doing books like Benjamin Franklin, we're doing Pocahontas, and we're doing Buffalo Bill. Now, as you can see, these are books that I found that I can read straight on Ambleside Online for complete free. So I am not purchasing these books. I'm just going to read them off the Ambleside Online website, and I'm really excited about those 3 books. I have really liked that author. I find that, again, it's very short, easy readings. Sometimes you get a book and the readings are just so long, but these are very doable, and so I'm very excited for my children to learn about those people for history. Moving on to natural history, I invested in this handy book of nature study with my year 1 student when I was with the CMEC. The only thing I can tell you that I wish about this book, which is a great resource, I do wish that it was in color. I find that sometimes the pictures aren't really as expressive as they could be, but the truth is, guys, the knowledge is here and there really is so much of everything. So basically what I did this year is I asked my daughter, oh my goodness, sorry, I've got a little, I basically brought my 6-year-old to the book and I said, hey, I'm gonna let you choose what you wanna study for your nature study. Do you wanna do mammals? Do you wanna do insects? Do you wanna do fish? Do you wanna do amphibians? She actually wanted to do trees, and luckily there's a whole section on trees. So I told her that, we would read a little bit about that. And then I realized, guys, I thrifted this awesome book from a thrift store, and this is kind of getting me even a little more excited for the visuals and for the short readings. So I might be tempted to actually use this or use both. But that's what I love about homeschool is you could really go with the flow. We could try one book. If it doesn't really work, or if we find it's just not a good fit, we can move to something like this. But how gorgeous is this book? Look, 1968. Oh, I love this kind of stuff. But anyway, I really like this, and I thought, hey, that would be fun. And then maybe we could find these trees around our area and see what's going on. I also have field guides of trees. So again, if that's something that really interests her, I have field guides of trees in our area, so I can utilize that as well. Now, this book by Holly Clancy Holland, one of my favorite authors since I started homeschooling as well, Paddle to Sea. I haven't done this yet with my year 1 student because we were doing CMEC when my oldest was in year 1. So I'm excited to read this. What I like about this author that you'll be able to see is every single part of these nature books that show geography and history and all these amazing things, they have just 1 page of expectation of reading and then beautiful visuals. I mean, it just doesn't stop. So I am really, really happy with this author, and I'm really excited to go through this with my daughter. And I know my son is going to want to be a part of it as well. So if you see this author, Holly Clancy Holland, it's another one of those that's very, very doable. And I think your child would enjoy it as well. Year 1 also had James Herriot's Treasury, but we have read that a bunch of times. So I actually decided to do Among the Meadow People. This was recommended to me by another fellow mama friend. I'm actually going to do it with my year 3 student as well. Among the Meadow People is also a book that I purchased on Kindle. Again, I find it so worth it, guys. It's like my biggest hack for saving money homeschooling, as well as the fact that Ambleside Online has almost all of these books for free online. I just love that about Ambleside Online. It's so easy to homeschool with rich literature at an affordable price. There's 28 charming tales about the everyday life of meadow creatures. And although I don't personally do magic or mythical things with my children, I did look into this, and although it's very awe and wonder provoking, there's apparently no magic. So if somebody knows anything different, you can let me know. I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm excited to have something that inspires awe and wonder in the world without needing those things. Now for literature, we also plan to read Just So Stories, which I'm also excited about. Again, there's no magic involved is what I've understood, but they do take you through these really awe-inspiring and wonder-filled stories of, for instance, like how a elephant got its trunk, or how a whale did this, or how a camel did that. I think I read one, how the elephant got its trunk, and it has to do with the trunk being pulled. So it's just thought-provoking things. Obviously, we believe God created the animals and created them to have the bodies that they have, but it's just a fun way to have your child think about what ifs and things like that. The Blue Fairy book I've never done, although it has been suggested. Again, it just doesn't work with my with the kind of literature that I want to read. So instead of Blue Fairy, I know it's kind of like fairy tales like Beauty and the Beast, Sea Salt, Prince Darling, Toads and Diamonds. Instead, I plan to do On the Banks of Plum Creek, which I have right here. This is something I'm going to do as my literature read aloud for my first term. And this is our first literature chapter book that I will be reading. I read the chapter books for our literature, and I combine them for my 2 students. But each student also has a free read that they read for reading. Me reading to the whole family, even my Kinderleben will follow along. Then my year 1 and 3 students will have a different reading to do on their own daily. Now for Shakespeare on the AO schedule, we are actually doing Tales of Shakespeare by Charles and Mary Lamb. We are continuing that from last year. So I'm basically going to just continue with the readings that my year 3 student is doing, because my year 1 student has followed along those readings the entire time. So we're just going to continue to pick up where we left off on his schedule, since they're both on the same schedule as far as Shakespeare. Here are the poems that were recommended for year 1. Basically, we had these books already, which was pretty cool. We are doing When We Were Very Young. We're reading just one little poem a day around our poetry tea time. This is, I guess, for term 1. Then we have Now We Are 6, we're going to do for term 2. Just kind of take our time and enjoy it. And then there's a child's book of poems. I got this from the library, and we're going to do that for term 3. I'm very excited for that. Obviously, if there's a poem that does not flow with what I want my children reading, and I'm sure any parent does this, you can literally just skip it. So I know sometimes I do have people like, oh, we know you don't read magic, so what do you do if, and it's, guys, it's so simple. It really has not hurt us in any way. If there's a poem I don't want to read that doesn't fit what I want for our family, we don't read it. It's as easy as that. And I've been able to really work around and not sacrifice my own conviction, and I feel like you guys shouldn't either. There really are other things that you can do to inspire awe and wonder, and I'm actually thinking about making a whole video on that. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. Because we're only reading one short poem a day, I am going to still read my year 3's poetry alongside that during tea time, so it's not going to be a big deal, but we'll probably be doing 2 poems a day. The reason for that is I would like my year 1 student and my Kinderleben students to get an enjoyment from these younger poems. I don't necessarily want to have to just bring them up to year 3 without enjoying these younger ones. So I'm happy to read 2 poems a day, one from here and then one from my year 3s, which we'll get to that when we start covering year 3 curriculum in a second. So we're still on year 1, but here is year 1 math. I did the Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic with my year 3 student, who when he was year 1, and I have to say, as you can see, I have continued to purchase these brand new, and I have no regrets. Now, when you do look at this on Simply Charlotte Mason, you'll notice that you can either buy the book alone. It might be, I forgot how much, maybe $50, I'll put it here. But you buy the book alone, or you can buy it with all the manipulatives that they have, like buttons, pencils. Basically, there's certain questions in here where they might say without manipulatives, or they might say with manipulatives. And I guess if you have the money to spare, which I did not want to, you could purchase with manipulatives and just get a beautiful box with everything ready to go. 50 buttons, whatever, everything you need for counting. You can look on their website, but definitely I would have got it if I wanted to spend the money. However, I have tons of things around my house that I can already do that. For instance, when it says use this or use that, I just use something else. So if it said use 10 of these, I just grabbed 10 of something in my house, and guys, it worked just wonderful. So it's really about convenience and money sometimes. It really wasn't a big deal getting my own manipulatives, so don't be turned off if you just get the book. Another reason I really love this, and it's been working great for us, is it really gave us a break from writing, because most of this is oral. So you'll see this is kind of the things that your year 1 student is going to learn. I had great success with this with my year 1 student. It'll even give you term exam questions at the end of each term, which I utilized and really felt good about. Pretty much everything is oral. I've loved this math notebook. I got the same one for my son last year, and it's just a great notebook where the kids can start to, she already started in here, where they can write. This works really great for just documenting answers. So although most of this is verbal, which I think is great because when kids are learning to write at such a young age, I think it just removes stress when you just have verbal questions. And it really just makes math more relaxed. I don't know, I really, really enjoyed this. Let me know if you did down below. But this is something that I'm gonna continue to purchase as long as it continues to serve us well, which it has. And like I said, this has been a great notebook that's affordable. Does anyone else have a teething 15-month-old? Let me know. This is just an example of my son's math notebook. He completed last year's, and had to move into a new one. So this is just some of the stuff that he's been doing. This is all him. And sometimes I'll write down the problem and he'll do the answer just to like save him a little bit. And because I have confidence that he already kind of knows how to write those numbers. So this is from last year, and we did not start this year yet, but we're just going to continue in this book, which I love. And this just gives you an idea why this book is so helpful. This is all the stuff we ever do goes in here for math. So this is like our narration math notebook, if that makes sense. And this is for year 3. I figured because I showed you that, I might as well show you this. Now, I guess I'll show you Copywork as well for both students, again, just because it's convenient. I'm trying to make this very organized for you guys, but this is just what it is. I am doing the same thing that I did for my son. I'm continuing this program. So just to give you guys an idea, this is my son's, this is my daughter's. We haven't started yet, but we started for my son, and he has been doing this program since year 1. And this one program that was $10, he's still using it. I don't mean, oh, it's taking us a long time to get through it. I mean, it is so full of wealth and knowledge that he has continued it. She did such a good job at providing such beautiful things for your children to copy. Forgive some of the, sometimes I write on this. You know what, I'll show you with my daughters. What's cool about this program by Penny Gardner is you buy this program, Italics, Beautiful Handwriting for Children. You buy it for $10. You get a PDF email sent to you, and you get permission to print this as many times as you want. Now, you don't sell it or share it with friends, but when I say as many times as you want, I mean as many kids as you want. You are able to print this and utilize it. So I was able to utilize that same $10 I spent 2 years ago for this. And I didn't have to spend it again. Sort of a fancier print. Beautiful. There's a little bit of character that you'll notice is different from the regular print. But then when it gets to the cursive italics, you'll see that this isn't quite completely fancy script, but it definitely leans in. The first year we focused on basically the print, and then the second year, since year 2, we've been working on the script. And then, this is so thoughtful, but look how cool this is. When you're done with all the copy work, she provides you with the most beautiful, like Charlotte Mason type, living words that you can copy if you want. You could be like, okay, son, now write, the shallower the brook, the more it babbles. Now, as far as reading goes for my year 1 student, I'm doing what I did for my year 1 student when he was in CMEC. We started with Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I love this. By the time my son, at like 5 years old, got to lesson 50, he was already just flat out reading. My daughter is up to lesson 50 now, and she is also reading, like she's read through all her Bob books. So now I usually start her on the Beacon First Reader. We take our time, we go very slow. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna just get through maybe a page a day. Remember, the goal is not to kill the joy of learning when somebody is learning a new skill. So I'm just excited to go through these stories. Use these stories at your judgment. If any of these contain magic, I end up just ripping them out or crossing them out, and it's really not a big deal. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also doing Aesop's Fables, and what I like about doing this is part of our literature actually. A lot of these fables, again, cause the excitement of awe and wonder because they use a lot of animals. There are several that have different gods involved that we have ripped out. I just stick to getting them learning the fables, the character, the lessons behind these beautiful poems, and I just skip the ones that have to do with magic or gods or things like that. Just putting that out there for anybody that might benefit to know. Now, foreign language we do again as a family. We do this with Kinderleben, we do this with everybody. So I just want to show you some of my resources. I want to be honest when I say, I think the only way to truly have your children become fluent at Spanish or another language is to literally talk to them in that language throughout the day. And a lot of times this is when one parent only speaks to them in that language and the other parent doesn't. That I hear is like the most successful way. It's like immersive Spanish. What I am thinking of doing is having certain points in my day, and again, this may take time, but my goal eventually is to have certain points in my day where I'm just speaking Spanish. So maybe, hey guys, we're eating breakfast. Let's just speak Spanish while we're eating breakfast. Or hey guys, we're in the car. Let's just speak Spanish while we're in the car. I want to try to rotate through those things. But last year I really focused on conversational Spanish, on vocabulary. I think you can't go wrong there, and this is something that I've been doing faithfully. I highly recommend these note cards. My kids are really, really good at vocabulary, and we have a lot of fun going through these different things. I think it is very, very helpful. You can thrift this kind of stuff. But I also have this Spanish set, this reading set. I just think this is just going to be like a confidence booster. You can read to your kids, they're enjoying it, you're getting them involved in hearing Spanish, then they can maybe practice reading. You could also get Spanish books from the library. Like for instance, you put a show on in Spanish for a kid, they might enjoy watching it because, hey, they're watching a show, but they're gonna really wanna know what's going on. So maybe you even play a show for a child in English and then you play the same show for the child in Spanish. They start to get familiar that way. These are things that I'm navigating. I got this for $8 at like a Charlotte Mason store, and I've heard about this, so I'm thinking about doing it and reviewing it. It's a Charlotte Mason way of teaching a language because you're literally doing actions as you're learning. I love these books because I feel like the kids, it's like Where's Waldo? The kids love seeing all the different things that there are. So that's what I'm planning to do for Spanish. I would love to do a separate video on language, but I'm also just gonna get into the deep of it this year and then maybe share. Okay, for our recitations, and again, this is for all my students. This is a TBG songbook I got from CMEC, my first year of homeschooling, and I have not stopped using it since. If you join the CMEC, which I do think it's worth it for a lot of moms, I started to feel like I could fly on my own. There are hymns, poetry, scripture, and more in here that is wonderful to utilize for recitations for your children to memorize and practice different things. So this has actually saved me a ton. I haven't had to like scramble around looking for these things. I'm even this year probably gonna just open this up, choose a hymn, choose a folk song, choose poetry, choose scripture that I want my kids to memorize. And so I just want to stress that this is a really great resource from the CMEC. Now, as far as nature study goes, this kind of fits into our drawing as well, because I thrifted this awesome book, Watercolor in Nature, where you paint woodland, wildlife, and botanicals with 20 beginner-friendly projects. What I really like about this is my children love to watercolor, and it's something that I want to continue to do each year. Like, I want to focus on watercoloring, something I love to do as well. And so I really love how this book kind of breaks down from drawing, which will be helpful because that's something I want my kids to be able to do, all the way up to painting. And I also think this will be helpful in nature studies because we might find a flower and be able to reference here, or we might just start from here. These are the books that I absolutely love. I get these on Amazon. They're amazing. You get 2 in a pack and they just last me the whole year, so I love them. I have one for obviously my year 1 and my year 3. And then this is just another brush drawing book that I want to mention because I bought this from the CMEC my first year. My daughter loves to look at this, my year 1 student, so I thought I'd include it. There's like a bit of design and things that kind of gives her some ideas, but this is really what I'm going to be working with in terms of drawing and in terms of drawing things from nature. When we do our nature study, we end up using our nature notebooks and we watercolor. Now for artist studies, this is going to be the same artist study that we're doing for my year 1 student and my year 3 student. There is like an artist study rotation guide that you can get on Ambleside online. I'm sure it goes in order of history, but I actually just grabbed the ones that I found on sale. I got these from Riverbend Press. They come with beautiful pictures. I'm going to do one artist a term, and we're going to study 6 pieces of that artist each term. As you can see, last year we studied Claude Monet, we studied Vincent van Gogh, and we studied Mary Cassatt. I do have an artist study and composer study video that you guys can see right here. I highly recommend looking at those. They will really make you feel like you can do it if you've been intimidated. And I want to show you guys, this is my Truth, Beauty, Goodness book that I get from Riverbend Press. I have one for my year 1 and my year 3 student. If you look at those videos I just pointed out, you will understand how we do artist study and how we do composer study. For handicrafts, my daughter's actually doing embroidery, which is so cute because we found this Embroider Your Year embroidery kit, and I am so impressed with how well she has taken off. She's literally done this by herself. I might have helped her with my year in the center, but then I've been writing everything and she's just been going wild with embroidering, and I'm so proud of her. And this is what she's going to be doing all year, and then we'll probably move on to sewing and mending different things as they break, kind of focusing on those types of skills. You can literally do it throughout the entire school year, and it's very fun at the end. As far as free reads go, I have a bunch of free read options here for either my year 1 student or my year 3 student. As my daughter becomes a more confident reader, I'm not gonna assume she's gonna get to any of these reading on her own, but we can work through any of these books during the year, and I'm very excited about these for either of them to read on their own with me, sitting with them as the year goes on. My year 3 student is doing so amazing. I know he could fly through any of these books, so I'm very, very thankful for the reading that we've been able to accomplish. All right, guys, now we're moving on to my year 3 student. As far as history goes, we are going to continue Child's History of the World, which I have on my Kindle, as well as This Country of Ours. Year 2 kind of switched between the two, and year 3 does the same. As I said, with history, Island Story and Child's History of the World and This Country of Ours, I did with my entire family. So we're just going to pick up and go off my year 3 student schedule for history, and we have that on my Kindle. As for biography for year 3, we're going to be doing Leonardo da Vinci. I have that on Ambleside Online. So I'm going to be doing Leonardo da Vinci from Ambleside Online with my son. We're also doing Marco Polo, and that is something that Ambleside Online provides the readings for. So I'm so happy about that. I was able to buy Pagoo for natural history for my year 3 student because I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find it anywhere for free, but surprise, surprise, notice Clancy Holland. Love this author. And again, do you see how beautiful? He just does such a good job. And I guess because this is for maybe an older child, it's not a picture on every page, like a beautiful full page illustration, but this is still beautiful, and I know my son's gonna love this. Pagoo, like that means anything to you, because it doesn't mean anything to me. Pagoo is basically about the things that happen under the sea, I believe, and also guessing from the picture. But yeah, hermit crab, the changing hides. So that's going to be exciting. And just to show you guys, these are some of the other awesome books. We've done Seabird, we're doing Pagoo, we're doing Paddle to the Sea, we've done Tree in the Trail, and I guess that will be next year. So fun. We also have A Drop of Water. This is great because my friend gave this to me last year, and then I realized I needed it, and I was like, awesome. I didn't even know this was going to be so great. But look how cool this is. This is like experiments. I know my daughter's going to want to take place in this, but this was on the year 3 AO list. And I really think that this is going to be a lot of fun. It does not look like a burdensome read, which again is what I always try to avoid when I'm reading with my children. So for literary, there's something called American Tall Tales. I'm going to get that directly from Ambleside Online. I decided not to do the heroes because again, I found there was some scods or magic or something there. It just did not work for my family. You could check it out for yourself. We're going to be doing Among the Meadow People. As I said, I have that on my Kindle. On the Banks is going to be, bam, our read aloud for the first term, which I'm so excited about. Shakespeare I have on my Kindle. Pilgrim's Progress is something that we are starting Christiana's journey. We finished Pilgrim's Progress, the first book. I actually have the actual copy. I did love reading it on Ambleside Online because they separate it into 36 weeks. It will give you how much you need to be done in 1 year. So I prefer to read from there than just be like, how much am I supposed to read from my regular book? As far as poetry, William Blake that I'm going to be reading, and like I said, I'm going to do that in accordance with these books. Every day, I'm just going to do my best to read one poem a day. I meant to tell you guys, this is elementary geography. This is something that I got for my year 1 student. I believe that in year 1 and in year 3, there might be, let me see. It says for year 3, Charlotte Mason's Hot and Cold Countries, Parallel Lines. So that is present in this book, and I believe that year 1 also requires this book. So again, this is something that I kind of have and utilize as I see fit. I use my judgment. And then we have a Compact World Atlas that I don't know how it's still in perfect condition, but we got this 2 years ago, and it's just great to have around the house. We also have, let me show you guys. I thrifted this, but I highly recommend you guys get yourselves a wall map. I even think that this is better than that because first of all, this is beautiful, but I just find that it's a little hard and confusing for kids to see. Yeah, it looks pretty. This is so much easier. I thrifted this. I put it over my TV because I have to say I hate having a TV, and I find that it helps us when we're reading. We'll have the kids go up and point. So guys, just saying, if you didn't think about this, I think that this is so cool. You can put it on the floor. You can put it, it's a wall hanging, but if you get a fabricate wall hanging, you could use it as a blanket. There's just so much that you can do with something like this. So consider getting something like this. It's been really helpful, to be honest, for even me, because there's still places in the world that I don't know where they are. So it's been great. My son, for his reading, I'm going to have him read this book my friend told me about. Where is it? It is called My Side of the Mountain. My friend was like, Laura, he's gonna love it. I'm like, what's it about? She's like, it's about a boy that's like cramped in the city with his parents. And so he runs away to his own side of the mountain. And he's got a pet hawk and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm in an apartment right now. This is not gonna make my kid wanna run away from me, is it? But no, it won't. She just said that it's really good. I mean, if he does, she's in big trouble. But no, I think that this is going to be a great read, and it just seems like the perfect book for his stage of life. So this is going to be his first read. And then, like I said, I'm going to choose any of these books that I thrifted when he finishes that. So he can do as many as he wants, but at least one a term is the goal. As far as physical activity, my kids do an extracurricular activity 3 to 5 times a week. So that's kind of where we get that. We talked about art. We talked about artist study, picture study. We talked about geography, timeline. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. I've asked this question a million times, and I've had people in the comments ask me too, when do you do a timeline? I'm pretty sure, guys, let me know if I'm wrong. I thought that I saw you don't do a timeline until the kid's in grade 5, right? My kid's in grade 3, but then I look on AO and it says to do a timeline. So I'm a little confused. But I did get this from Riverbend Press, and I like it because they said you could have a century notebook, but the notebook stays closed. And if your kid's really visual, how cool to put this across your wall somewhere and have your kid write it on the wall, see it all the time. I don't know. I'm a visual learner. I think this is going to be great for me. So I got this for my kid. So to show you my son's handicraft, this was a birthday gift. And it was such a great investment. It basically starts you out with everything that you need to start whittling. And even when all of this wood and everything is done, these tools themselves, like these are pretty cool tools that he has. Like, I don't know, they look like great quality. It comes with like a glove. Again, I'll like link this down below, but I'm so excited about this. One idea I had, and maybe I'm being a little too crazy, but I was like, how cool would it be for him to work on his own wooden chessboard? Wouldn't that be cool? Like, he could just work on the chess pieces, and by the end of the year, maybe he'll have this little chessboard. No matter how dinky it is, it would be really special. I'll show you guys what he made me out of one of those really big chunks of wood. He made me this little owl. Isn't it cute? Here are my narration notebooks that I get from Riverbend Press. I wanted my 6-year-old, again, who's starting school new, she wouldn't have cared, but I wanted it to feel a little fancy. So I really like Riverbend Press books for my narrations, but I will say you could do anything. There's $5 notebooks at Walmart that my friends use, and I'm probably gonna start doing that. So something else for literature for my year 3 student, we're doing the Bard of Avon, story of William Shakespeare. These are something that we're gonna have readings in for literature, and so I can read this to him, and if he's feeling like it, if he wants, he can read as well. We also did this author, Joan of Arc, last year. So I got this from the library, guys. I do whatever I can to not have to spend, especially while I'm in transition, but I did buy the Landing of the Pilgrims book for history because I couldn't find it anywhere. So this is about in England in the early 1600s. Everyone was forced to join the Church of England. And then it talks about religious freedom and things like that, which I think could bring up some good conversations for us. I'm also thinking, guys, okay, I'm a big dreamer and a big planner. When my aunt found that I had read Pilgrim Progress with the kids, she was like, oh my gosh, Laura, have you read Hind's Feet on High Places? And I was like, no, I haven't. She sent this to me, which was so sweet. It is a long book, but I think that it has the same type feel as Pilgrim's Progress. And what I thought is maybe on our Sabbaths, we could read one of these, like, or at least a page or something like that. I have not read this yet, but I'm guessing from her that it's going to be really good. So if you read this before, you can let me know in the comments below. I'm honestly going into it blind. But because she recommended it, I think it'd be something really great to read on our Sabbaths to just get us in that mindset and keeping conversations about our journey as believers in Yeshua and Jesus. And that also brings up, this is something I love to have around. I never spoke about it before, but it really is like part of our curriculum, because since my kids were born, we started celebrating the biblical feasts, and they have enriched our lives so much. It has made the Bible come alive. We have seen Jesus at the center of every single one. And so this is actually, like it says, a special homeschool unit study included. This is just has so much wealth about the different feasts of the Bible commanded by God, and how to practice them in practical ways. So this has been something I go to time and time again every year, because part of educating my children, I want it to be on educating His Word, but also living out His Word in ways that we can. And by doing the feasts, we really get to see the things He did, whether it's celebrating Passover or celebrating the Sabbath, or this has just been a really helpful book for us. So that is something I always kind of have on hand, but this is going to be like our Sabbath reading. And I'll let you guys know how that goes. Usually when I do updates on things I share here, I'll either put it in the comments of the video or I'll share it on my posts. So just like on my community posts. So just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. This is actually a book I'm about to be doing a review on, because instilling habits in my children is extremely important to me. This is a Charlotte Mason inspired program that helps you lay down the rails for your children so that they're able to become civilized, contributing members of society that have morals and character and good work ethic and good habits. And so this is something that I'm doing with my students. I'm incorporating it into my morning time once a week, and I'm gonna love talking to this with you guys in a future video, because there's a lot to share. So I hope you guys subscribe and stick around for that. But that is it, guys. Wow. That was a lot. So that is it, guys. I am so happy that we got through that. That was really long. I really tried my best to make that organized. Forgive me in areas where it might have not been. By now you know that this is my channel, but my 15-month-old might as well be like the co-runner, because she's just always around when I'm filming, and sometimes it can get really crazy. Thank you, Point May. Thank you so much for being here. Remember to keep an eye out for my Kinderleben videos that I'm going to be putting up, so you can see things like our math basket, our literacy basket, our occupations, and all the things in between. Leave a comment if there's a future video that you'd like to see, or a question that you want me to add to my next Q&A. And I hope that you guys stay cool, calm, and collected. It's a mess in here. Have a good day. Bye.